it's recording. See the numbers changing? The red light, it's kind of counterintuitive for a second or two.
Yo, girly, what's up? You want out? Give me kissies. No? Okay. Let's see her. What do you want to get? Oh, she got ready in her... Okay. Hi. So what are your names?
I'm Lorelai Maycomber.
And I'm Ronnie Maycomber.
And, forgot my question. Oh, how long have you guys been together?
We've been married 9 years this coming November.
Well, congrats. And how many children do you have?
We have 3 children.
Okay, and can you tell me about your children?
Our daughter Elizabeth will be 3 years old on Thursday. Our middle son Joshua is 4.5, and our oldest son David is 7.
Okay, so tell me about your children. What are their names?
Our children are Elizabeth, age 3 this coming Thursday, Joshua, age 4.5, and David, age 7.
And are they biological?
All of our children are adopted, and they're all African American.
And why did you decide to adopt instead of have children on your own?
Let me go on this one, yeah. So I can speak of my experience. Lorelai said she had similar thoughts when she was a kid. But when I was in high school, I thought of myself as this great deep thinker or something, philosopher, or writer. And so I would write these things, and I started thinking about, well, I knew I really wanted, and that time I would have said, use the words, my own kids, but I'm meaning biological children. And I wondered why it was that I really had this desire for that, and thought about it a lot, and thought for me it was either one of 2 things, or possibly both. One, that there's this biological drive to replenish the earth, and I think we're beyond that. Or there's a little bit of ego, there's a little bit of myself, like, oh, I want a little piece of me to be on the earth as some sort of legacy, and that doesn't seem like very good reasons. Then life went on. We got married, and I think it was just about 2 years or so after we got married that we got word of a distant relative where the mother and father had separated, and the mother had custody of the kids.
And it wasn't a good situation.
Yeah, that was, I guess to not get into specifics, that's
Yeah.
probably the best way to say it.
Okay.
And so we heard about what was the bad situation that was going on with the mom and how she was treating the kids, and decided that we would be willing to come forward and say, hey, you're not willing to take care of these kids, we are. And before we actually did that, the father came forward and said pretty much the same thing. And while he was not necessarily the father of the year, that they had somebody better off looking out for them. But it kind of kept in our hearts and minds, like, if we were willing to adopt these kids, why not other? And I kind of brought back, my thoughts about stuff when I was a kid, and Lorelai, she had some of the same, not the same exact thoughts, but the same thoughts that we could adopt when we grow up.
And then I think it was about a year or so after that we started the adoption process. Please shut the door. No, you have to wait till Mommy's done answering questions.
Guys doing not too well answering questions at this point.
Now, are all 3 of your children American born?
All 3 of our children are actually born here in Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
So they're
awesome.
all adopted out of the Sacramento County foster care system, and they are all adopted. So we have all the same legal rights as if we'd given birth to them.
We
Okay.
have birth certificates with our names on them.
As their
that.
parents.
Now,
Yeah.
are all 3 of these kids related?
Our 2 youngest children have the same birth mom,
Okay.
and our oldest son is not biologically related, but he's related by adoption.
And
we try not to emphasize that much because it kind of separates David from the other 2, and that's not necessary. So it's
I
not really
under-
something that we talk about. much.
At this point, obviously,
Yeah.
at some point he'll get older. We also have contact with birth siblings, the full brother and sister of Joshua, who are, the full sisters of Joshua, and then Joshua's half brother and sister were adopted by 2 other families, and so the 3 families get together. Probably average about more than once a year, but less than twice a year, just trying to get 3 families scheduled, and we range in age from 3 to 13.
And
Now,
none of us live in the same city.
Yeah.
now Joshua's siblings,
Uh-huh.
are they also in a with different
They're
foster
adopted.
parents?
They're adopted.
Okay, and
Yeah, they're in safe homes as well. So.
now, would you consider that like an open adoption, or what would you consider that? Because when I see open adoption,
Yeah,
I think of
I don't know
parents.
what to call that. It's like open with the siblings, but
It's-
again, it's open because they were adopted. So everyone happens to be in a Christian home. We all have the same values. We're not worried about exposing our kids to any other, weirdness, so to speak.
Or dangerous people
Yeah.
or situations.
Yeah. We do not have any contact, us or any of the families do not have any contact with any of the birth parents.
Now, when all 3 of your children's, I don't know if they do yet, or in the future when they will, if they ask you why don't you guys look like me? Have you thought about how you would answer that?
So our oldest son, David, was 4.5 when Elizabeth came home. So he actually remembers going to the hospital and picking up the baby. So we've talked mostly with him. Our 4-year-old just noticed that we have white skin and other people have brown skin, and he has brown skin. But for him,
His
it's
works.
still the same as, well, mommy's a girl and daddy's a boy and I'm a boy. So
Hairstyle
he hasn't
different.
attached any other meaning to it at this point. He doesn't realize biologically that we couldn't have brown children, and he also doesn't know what biological children versus adopted children mean. I'm not sure if you asked him if he adopted, if he'd be able to say yes, but if he did say yes, again, he still wouldn't know what it means. Our 7-year-old, because of bringing Elizabeth home when he was 4.5, is able to tell you that he's adopted, that he had another mommy, and that he was in his other mommy's tummy. So he understands at least the basics of, at that much and stuff. He also knows that we look different, but again, to him, it doesn't have any of the value racial connotations that it's going to have for him when it's older. And at this point, we're just trying to protect him from all of those issues until he brings them up.
I've been exposing the kids to the basic concept at night. Sometimes I tell them their story, and so for example, for Joshua, I tell him there was a little baby that was born to a woman who had bad stuff in her body, and the bad stuff was hurting the baby, so the baby had to get out early. He was born 4 months premature, and he was just a little bitty baby, and well,
He was 12.
A little bigger.
well, he was still little, but he was. I had hands too. It was just a little bitty baby, and he needed machines to help him at first to breathe and to keep warm, and kind of go on in the story about how God brought him a mommy and daddy, and then kind of at the end of the story, the first time it was like a big eyeball, his eyes just got real big and smiled, but we ended every time, and it's predictable, but and that little baby's name was Joshua Ryan Midcomer, and he asks me to tell him the story all the time, and then sometimes to tell him Elizabeth's story and stuff like that. So
Now, would you consider raising children from a different ethnicity harder than raising children? Like, do you get people on the block who ever look down to you or anything? Or even look up to you?
Yeah, mostly we get a lot of positive responses. We live in a fairly low income neighborhood, so sometimes while they're trying to be positive, they're not responses that are appropriate for children. So I kind of am like, oh yes, thank you, we're moving on now, let's not. But yeah, mostly it's been positive. one of the things that we would prefer people didn't say is that people love to tell us how lucky our children are and what great people we are, which from reading we've done sends sort of a negative message to the children as they get older. Like, oh, my mom is so nice, and well, I better be good because my mom is such a nice
I burden
person.
them so much because
and we'd rather them just think like, well, all children with parents are lucky, and we're lucky to have you as our child as well, rather than just that,
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, but we have a lot of people.
Because with my family, people are saying, oh, you're so lucky, you're raised by this person or by this person. I told her that I also went through the adoption and foster care system and everything. Now, what is your greatest joy about raising your children?
I think smiles on faces.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
Smiles
little
and
things,
laughing
you know,
and
when they say they love you, and when you're tucking them in bed.
when they're being sweet to each other.
Yeah.
Yes, when they're being sweet.
Which
yeah.
isn't like often enough.
Yeah.
but
Can never be often.
But there are moments that are like real tender moments where they're helping each other, doing something sweet to one another, and it's a cool thing.
It's usually little glimpses, and you're like, oh, how sweet, and then it immediately falls apart because they're children.
Yeah. Now, what's the hardest or toughest part about adopting children?
About adopting or about?
About children. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think-
How about, okay, two different questions there. Okay. So split up into two different questions.
Okay, I'll
about
take the
adopting.
children one. It's only been about 3 months now that we've begun to have uninterrupted night's sleep. So that's the hardest thing I would
That's
say
hard, yeah.
about parenting is it's a lot of sleep deprivation.
Would you say that's just because they're young and
Yeah.
Josh is
Yeah,
so
oh
young?
yeah. So it's something that they've grown out.
We brought Joshua and Elizabeth both came home from the hospital a few days old. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that was
or
just.
equivalent of a few days old.
So that had nothing to do with the fact that they were adopted. That just had to do with the fact that they were babies.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I think the hardest thing about the adoption process, probably the hardest thing would just be the tedium. There's a lot of paperwork to fill out, there's a lot of classes to go to, and because we both have bachelor's degrees and teaching credentials, most of the classes were very basic childhood education, ECE, AA level classes that we had taken.
I wouldn't think they were that high sometimes.
Some of them weren't, some of them weren't even that high. So we were like, oh, I could teach this class. If I was teaching, it would be interesting, but just sitting here, it would be 2 or 3 hours for 6 to 12 weeks, here, or an all-day Saturday here. So just the tedium was the hard part, but you have to put in you have to jump through the hoops because they want to make sure that everybody knows this. And there were people in the classes who found the classes very helpful.
Oh yeah.
That's good, but
In my EC classes, I've been learning a lot. I mean, I know about what half the book says, but then there's still a lot of tips in there that I never really thought about. So that's pretty interesting. Now, as far as the adoption process, can you tell me a little bit more about that? And did you guys have like a trial where you take them home, and if it didn't work out for a few months, you put them back, or how did that work out?
please shut the door. So you start the adoption process, you go to an orientation meeting that's about 2 hours long, that sort of will give you in 2 hours what I'll give you in about 2 minutes here. Then, I believe we had an initial interview that was asked some basic questions. If you pass the initial interview, they give you this giant packet to fill out. Your name, if you went to school, how much schooling you've had, your parents' name, how much schooling they've had, your siblings, where everybody works, if anyone in your family has drug issues. It wants to know about your sexual history because a lot of kids in foster care have been sexually abused. And if you've been sexually abused, that's fine as long as you've dealt with it. They don't want you to get a child who's been sexually abused and have it bring up all these issues that you've just been shoving in a corner, because that could damage the child more. So they ask you all sorts of personal questions. They ask you income questions, though the income level's very low. You just have to be able to provide for a child. You don't have to be super rich or anything. Once you fill out all the paperwork, then you do a home study, which is one-on-one interviews with both the parents, and if you have children who are old enough, they'll interview your children. When we started the process, didn't have any children, so that was an issue. They do a joint interview, and then the social worker writes, it's about 10 to 15 page paper that summarizes everything that you filled out, everything she's interviewed you about. Once that's done, they come into your home and make sure that the home is child-proof. And once you pass the child
And to certain codes.
to a certain foster care code. Once you pass that, then you start the search process. The search process for us, we started in January and brought Joshua home in April, so it was 4 months. And it can range anywhere from 4 months to up to a year or more, depending on how picky you want to be as a parent and
What you're open to.
how qualified you are as well as what issues social workers feel that you're qualified to handle and deal with. Once the child comes home, there is a minimum 6-month period that, yes, would be considered a trial period where you could return the child. Like I said, we had 2 babies and a 4-year-old and never even considered returning them. As soon as we met them, we were committed to.
It's like the movie, The Martian Child or something like that. That I think we'd even watched before we considered adopting. I'm not sure.
I was in middle school when that came out.
And so yeah, the adoptive dad says, well, it's not like a vacuum, just take him back. And so that's sort of like my thought going in. There's no trial period. They come home, they're ours.
Yeah.
That's it.
And a lot of people ask us if like the parents could ever take them back. The parents in this choice did not choose to give up their children. The state took the children away. So it wasn't the parents' choice, so they can't change their mind. And then the other question we get a lot is during that trial period, could they have been returned to their parents? And again, that would have been up to the state. And the only reason we would not have kept our children is if they had been returned to their biological parents. So while they were legally termed foster children, they were never in what you might consider a foster child relationship where we're just your temporary parent. It was always, we're planning to adopt you as soon as the 6 months are up and we can fill out the adoption paperwork.
Those were my next 2 questions.
Yes.
Now, how did you decide what ages you wanted to adopt a child at?
So we first went in and we said birth to age 5 or birth maybe up to age 10. We were actually offered a set of 4 boys ranging from I think 4 to 10. And at that point we had decided that we were only going to adopt. When we started the process, we were considering adopting and having biological children. And at that point, we had changed our mind and decided we were just going to adopt. And when they offered us those boys, I realized that I wanted to have a baby, like a baby. So then we went in and we changed our home study, that big paperwork stuff, to say that we were again open to sibling sets, more than one child, and I switched it to birth to age 5, with one of them being under a year old. So that was sort of a process for me. I didn't realize until I was offering kids, like, oh no, I think I want a baby. What?
Never mind.
Okay.
Now,
What was the question again? Sorry.
oh, you answered it. Yeah. Now, what about you? Did you also want the same age as her?
Please shut the door.
Another orange.
You answered the question.
Oh, what's the question again?
Now,
Did you
did you
have
also
age
want the
preference?
same age range as what she wanted?
I was open to just young kids in general. I think we eventually settled down to the idea of birth to 2, but then
Okay. Please pick up all the orange peels
things changed
here and all over and put them all on the table.
when we were offered David as a 4.5-year-old, and we felt led by God that that's our kid, and so that changed that, of course. I have a real long story about that, but I don't know if you want to get into that.
You don't have to. You don't have to. Now, you guys said you both have bachelor degrees in teaching. Now, Are you both teachers, or do one of you guys homeschool the kids? How does that work?
I homeschool the kids, and then he works as a teacher.
And would you ever consider switching to where he homeschools and you teach, or do you prefer it?
I prefer to stay at home. I'm sure he
And it's I'm already at the point where I'm vested in my job, so it's
Yeah, it would be too much work in a sense for me to, and the economy is not good for teachers right now. It would be almost impossible for me to get a job.
I could see that.
It's almost impossible for him to get fired because of the field he's in. So
Now, do you have tenure?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. I want to be a teacher too, so yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we bring the kids in?
I thought of something.
I think another one of the questions we commonly get is, or maybe just, I guess it's just an assumption. That's not really a question sometimes. It's like people saying, I saw this article in the newspaper, and those people like that shouldn't be able to have kids, and you guys couldn't even have your own kids. And it's like, no, we decided to adopt. We don't have fertility issues. We just decided to adopt.
Yeah, we've had several people be like, pregnant ladies like, oh, are you okay? I mean, I know, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. I've never tried. I'm happy that you're having a baby. I'd be happy if you were adopting too, because we think everybody, well, not everybody, but everybody who's qualified should adopt now. But that's just because we've seen how many kids are in foster care need to be adopted.
We did notice that couples where they're physically pregnant, of course, get a lot more attention than adoptive parents who are going through the process and are really expecting, but not expecting. So it's a little different.
Did you guys ever have like a baby shower whenever you brought the kids up?
We had baby showers
Multiple
for the two babies, and then for David, obviously a baby shower didn't seem appropriate. So one of our friends hosted, I think we called it a family shower. And so it was a coming home, and some people bought him clothes, and people bought him a lot of toys. We had at that point, we had a 1-year-old, so we didn't have a lot of 4-year-old toys. So.
I see.
And we're saying happy family?
Yes.
Instead of happy birthday, happy family.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's nice. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off. Hi, you guys.
Hi.
You remember me? You might. I don't. You're probably too young. I used to be the Sunday school teacher.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
At our other church a long time ago.
Yeah?
Mhm.
So tell me your names.
David.
And what's your name?
Elizabeth.
Okay.
Elizabeth?
Take your hands out of your mouth there.
Yeah? Do you guys like each other?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is she a good little sister?
Yeah.
What about you? Is he a good brother? Are you sure?
Yeah.
You answered it for her. That's cute. Now, tell me about yourself. Like, is there anything I should know about you? Like your favorite game, your favorite thing to do with your parents?
Today, they usually play school. Today I played school with Joshua. When I woke up, I gave him his doodle board and I got my Iron helmet, and then we were going to school.
Now, who was the teacher?
Who?
Who was the teacher when you were playing school? Were you the teacher? Or was there just an invisible teacher?
I was the teacher.
You were the teacher? What did you teach?
Joshua, about tricks and things.
And what kind of tricks?
Like outside tricks on bikes.
Now, your mom told me she homeschools you. Do you know what homeschool is?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
School that you do at home.
Do you like it when your mom teaches you?
Yeah.
What's your favorite subject? Like your favorite thing to learn?
Art?
Yeah, art.
Art? What do you like to do in school?
Paint.
You like to paint? Do you consider that art?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Now, how old are you guys?
7.
How old are you? 2 or 3?
2.
2? Okay.
Not quite 3.
I know. She almost said 3, but I'm reading her lips. So yeah. Now, what grade are you in? You're not even in preschool, would you be?
She's in
No?
preschool.
Oh, you're in preschool.
I'm in 2nd grade.
You're in 2nd grade?
Mhm.
Do you have friends that come over here since you're homeschooled? Do you ever play with friends?
Where do we usually see our friends?
We usually see our friends at Mops, or we usually go to a park or their house.
Now tell me about Mops.
Mops. I went in my mom's room last time, and first time I was in like the room that's next to my brother, and my sister, and it's like that's the preschool room and the pre-kindergarten room.
Now what do you do in Mops?
Mops, homework, homework,
Homework? Do you like homework?
a little bit.
What do
Well-
you listen to while we're in?
Oh yeah, stories
Listen to stories?
on either the CD thing
On the CD thing, yeah.
or the earphones.
Mm.
Now what about you? What do you do at Mops?
I listen to David's class.
Say that one more time.
I listen to a movie in David's class.
Oh, okay. Now what are your guys' favorite color?
Green.
Green?
My favorite color is purple.
Purple? That's mine. Do you know that? Oh, you already knew that? Okay. Now, what is your favorite thing about your mom?
That she teaches me.
She teaches you? What about you? What's your favorite thing about your mom?
Teaches me.
Oh, okay. So she's a good teacher then. Yeah? How long do you guys do school for? Like, do you do it for an hour, a few hours, the entire day?
Let's see. Probably we usually do one wheel first and then either painting, and then we do like our math book, and Elizabeth and Joshua just have a coloring page. It's almost like math, but they have to figure out the things that are missing.
Now, what is your favorite thing about your dad?
That he goes to work and we can get food.
Oh, okay. I like that answer. What about you? What's your favorite thing about your dad?
He goes to work.
Oh, okay. So you guys
We
are alike.
should be asking her,
Her
first.
first. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you look up to your brother? Do you know what that means?
I don't think so.
No? Do you know what a role model is? Yeah?
No.
No? What's a role model? You don't know?
A roll. David, what do you do on Tuesdays?
Oh yeah, Cubbies.
What do you do at Cubbies?
Last Tuesday we didn't have very much things. We usually have an hour of something like games, songs, and verses. That time we only had like half an hour. That means one game, a couple of songs, and one verse. John 3:16.
Cool.
And what do you do before Cubbies?
Before Kirby's gymnastics.
Can you tell us about gymnastics?
I'm usually in the corner of the gymnastics where you can't see me unless you're like the door's open over there. It's like a great big door, and then you'd have to like watch. And I do like really good things at gymnastics. And one of my favorite things is like when I get on the balls and I jump into the foam pit.
What else do you do?
I do a lot of wing things. And last Tuesday we were like doing like I was walking on the bars, and then I was doing like mountain climb from the bottom to the top. And then and then we like sometimes we jump off the barn, sometimes, and then one time I like jumped off the barn and I went like I dived, and at the foam pit I flipped.
Cool.
Who's your best friend?
Joey.
Tell us about Joey.
Joey, he likes, let's see. Yeah. When mommy and my sister, were like at Linda's, we got to go to my best friend Joey's house for 2 weeks.
Cool.
Every day.
Now, does he go to Cubby's with you, or does he do?
He
Where do you
did-
see him?
He did Cubby's last time, I think.
Yeah, he's in Sparky's with
Oh
you.
yeah. And then, but I mostly don't get to see him because he's on red team and I'm on green team.
Oh, okay. What about you? Do you do gymnastics?
No, I watch David.
Oh, you watch David? Do you ever want to do gymnastics? No?
Really?
Really?
What sport do you want to do?
What do you want to do?
Cubby.
Cubbies. Are you in Cubbies? Yeah. What do you do at Cubbies?
It's not.
Eat snacks.
I like that answer. Now, do you guys go to church?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Today we went to church.
Tell me about it. What'd you learn?
Mostly I was just in my mom's class because my teacher was sick.
Oh, okay. So, is your mom's class a big one? Is it bigger than the
Oh
children?
yeah.
Yeah? Was it boring?
Yeah.
Did you understand it?
What?
There's a couple things in your mouth.
Yeah, I understand it.
What about you? Do you like church? Yeah?
What do you like about it, Elizabeth?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
Elizabeth, what's your verse?
I don't know.
Are you guys shy at all?
No.
No.
What about you? Okay.
Probably a little bit.
Now tell me about your little brother. Let's start with you. Do you like your little brother?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about him?
What do you like about Joshua?
She's sick.
He's 4.
4?
I think I know. They like to play school.
Oh, okay. So is Joshua older than you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Joshua's in the middle.
Now what about you? How do you like?
Mostly I like played with him this morning, but sometime this morning I was trying to make him be quiet so Elizabeth did not wake up. And then after I was done with my room, I said I was gonna go get Elizabeth's doodle board in his backpack.
Okay. Now, how many family members do you have?
How many people are in our family?
5.
5? Do you have any grandmas or grandpas or aunts or uncles you see?
Yeah, I have lots of Linda's.
Yeah? Who's she? Is she your aunt or grandma?
Yeah.
Your aunt? Yeah? Now the people in your family, are a lot of them your parents' age, or are they your age? So do you have cousins that are your age?
Yeah, cousins. Some cousins are my age, and Cyrus is like about I think mom's age.
Oh, okay.
He's about 8 years old.
How old is Rory?
4,
And how old is Evie?
2.
Elizabeth, when is Evie's birthday?
I don't know.
Think.
In November.
When's Rory?
August.
November, that was right. When's Rory's birthday?
In January.
Yeah.
Yeah? Now, what are your guys' favorite holiday and why? So tell me why.
Well, let's start with Elizabeth.
Yeah, okay.
What's your favorite holiday? What's your favorite celebration?
I don't know.
You don't know, yeah.
Now, do you like your birthday, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, Father's Day, St. Patrick's Day?
What's your favorite one, baby?
Eggs.
Eggs. Easter?
Yeah, Easter?
I.
What do you like about Easter?
Candy.
Candy. Okay. What about you, Joshua? What's your favorite holiday?
David?
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I have 3. Summer, because I can go swimming and I love swimming. And what was the other one? Oh yeah. Christmas and February.
Okay.
What's in February?
My birthday.
Oh, okay. Now, what do you guys normally do for Christmas?
Get presents.
Where do we go for Christmas?
Nana's house.
Nana's house?
And last Christmas, I helped Nana get the Christmas stuff under the Christmas tree. You know?
Now, do you guys decorate the tree, or
Oh yeah.
who takes you Christmas shopping to get gifts for your parents, or your mom and dad,
Nana.
or do you make them?
Nana took me.
Oh, she takes you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you guys like making stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you made last year for Nana and Papa and the aunts and uncles?
Oh yeah. Those light bulbs.
And what did we make them into?
A penguin. And we made and Joshua made like those little Christmas trees.
And what did you do with the penguin light bulb and the Christmas tree? Where did we put them?
On the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, if you could be one of your relatives, who would you be?
If you could switch
What about
places,
you?
If you could switch places with another family member, who would you be?
I think I would be Papa.
Oh, okay.
I think be Papa.
And why would you be your dad? Why would you be
No,
Papa?
Papa's grandpa.
Oh, Papa's okay, Grandpa. So why would you be your grandpa? Like, what's so great about him?
That he has. Let Elizabeth get this one.
Why
Okay.
do you want to be Papa?
I will be Nana.
Oh, you want to be Nana? Why do you want to be Nana?
Cause
Because why?
because he has sugar.
Oh. Do you eat sugar plain, or do you make cookies with them?
Sometimes we make cookies.
What, baby?
I get milk with cookies.
Oh, you milk with cookies. Okay, now, how long have you guys lived with mommy and daddy? Do you know?
Me, I think 4 years.
Almost 4 years.
What
You
about
were 4 when you came.
what about you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
1 year, I think.
1 year. Almost 3.
Almost 3.
Mm-hmm.
You were kind of close. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you surf. You crush.
Could I try?
Wanna go surfing? Across the USA.
That's it.
She's still up. Oh, wipe out.
Who's more fun, mommy or daddy?
Daddy.
Daddy, why?
Because he likes.
Because he likes her.
Okay, next time.
Sit down.
Whoops, I'm gonna smash you. I'm gonna crush you,
Okay.
squeeze you. I guess you're up there.
Okay, you guys. So,
Don't pick your nose on the video.
okay, you guys. Now, I want everybody, you guys can look at each other or say anything, but let's start with you, Elizabeth. What can you tell me about mommy?
I love Mama.
You love mama? Do you like living with her?
Yeah.
Are you glad you live with her?
Yeah.
What about you, Joshua?
David?
Oh, sorry, I keep saying the wrong name. I know it's David, I just...
As long as you don't call him Elizabeth, we'll be okay.
Okay, Elizabeth, no, I'm kidding. So David, do you like Mama?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you like living with her?
Yeah.
Yeah? What about Daddy? Do you like living with him?
Yeah.
Are you glad you live with them?
Yeah.
Yeah? If you guys could live here or with Santa, where would you rather live?
Santa.
Really? What about you? Oh,
Would you
you're
rather live with
shy.
Mommy or with Santa Claus?
Santa Claus.
Really? Why?
Because I could help him get the things ready.
Yeah.
Well, do you ever help your parents get things ready? Do they ever let you cook or put the silverware on the table?
It's more fun when you're helping Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah? What is your favorite thing? So Elizabeth, what is your favorite thing to do in the house?
What do you like to do? Do you like to play with your toys? Yeah, do you like to help Mommy cook?
Yeah.
Yeah? What do we cook?
And she.
Mac and cheese, yeah.
Do you,
Not out of the box.
when you grow up, do you want to be just like Mommy?
That's funny.
Do you want to be just like Daddy?
No.
Who do you want to be like? You don't know?
He was
Oh.
Joshua.
Joshua. Go get him.
Oh no. Oh buddy, let's go change it.
Hi.
Oh boy. You probably can pause it for. Can you tell her about your toys?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite toy for both of you? Are those your favorite toys?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not for David. What's your favorite toy, David?
My Iron Man helmet.
Your Iron Man helmet?
Show us that.
Yeah.
So like a mask or a helmet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His favorite toy is anything action. You go.
My
Growing up, that's how I was. I was Luke Skywalker one year. You know, just all those different.
Kid,
Oh wow.
Here's what it can do.
Hi. Can I have a high five? Whoa.
Yeah, it shoots bullets.
Don't do that now, still. Don't do that ever again. See?
Were you telling him what not to do?
That
Oh, you play the piano? Yeah? Can I have a high five? Jellyfish. Jellyfish. Good high five. Okay, you guys want to go sit on the couch?
cool? Just a minute.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Let me zoom out a little. There we go. So tell me about you, Joshua. What's your favorite thing to do?
I like this one. My favorite is
What's your favorite animal?
orangutans.
Orangutans. I went to the zoo yesterday. No, 2 days ago, and I saw some. Now, how old are you? You're 4. Do you go to school? Yeah? Tell me about your school. Do you go to a school or does mommy homeschool you? Homeschool?
What do we learn about in homeschool? You don't know? What letter is this?
B.
What letter is this? You don't know? That's okay. What's A say? I think you're being silly for the piano, huh? Can you say your Cubbies verse? You said it in the car this morning.
Can you explain to me what Cubbies is? And then the other one, what was the other one again?
Cubbies and Sparkies are a Christian-based program. So they learn a verse. So they have a week to learn it.
I'll have to run 323.
What? Tell the camera. Sit up and. Okay, we didn't hear you. Sit up, look at the camera, and say your verse.
323. 23.
And what are the words?
I don't know.
All have sinned.
I can do. All have sinned. 323.
Yeah. So they get a verse on Tuesday, and then we practice it for a week, and then they say it to their leader the following Tuesday. And so they usually do a craft that relates to the verse, and then they have a snack. Elizabeth and Joshua's favorite part. They sing some songs, and then the Sparkies, which is the next age up, plays games, and in February they go to the Awana Olympics and compete against other churches in the area.
What do they compete against? Like memorization? Or?
Actually, the game, just the game.
And they're
Oh,
physical
okay.
games, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of them involves balancing a beanbag on your head, and then
Running around the
kind of a
circle.
relay thing. And
Yeah.
Now, is this through the church or just a different programming? Is it like an
This
after
is-
school
there is-
program? Or?
It's through a church. It's not the church we go to, but there's one church that hosts for the entire Natomas area. So everybody who goes to a church in Natomas would go to this one Awana program because it takes about 100 kids to be able to run the program and have enough kids to play the games. And what? Ask her.
Okay. I want you to watch my talk. Yeah.
No, we're gonna do questions right now. Maybe she can watch Baton after questions. You can tell her about your baton.
Turn that on, David.
No. Okay. Look at the camera and tell her about Baton. What do you do with your baton?
Twirl it up and catch it really high.
What color is it?
Red and blue.
Red and blue?
Silver.
Now, is this for like a marching band or just for fun?
It is for twirling and fun.
Oh, okay.
What do you do on Tuesday mornings?
Yeah,
You take piano? Do they take piano or just you?
stop. That's me.
Who's
Just
your
you?
teacher?
sit, please, baby. Sit down. Sit. Thank you.
Who's your piano teacher?
Miss.
Melon. Melon.
Oh, okay. Does she finish your sentences?
And where
Yeah.
else do we see Miss
I
Mary?
did just wake up, so so much.
At church. What do we do Wednesday night at church?
Sing.
Yeah, what do we do Wednesday night?
I don't know. Eat.
Eat. What do we eat?
Healthy food.
Healthy food. That's right. We eat dinner.
Now, how often do you guys go out to eat? Or do you cook more inside the house?
Duck. Duck.
We probably go out about once a month.
Duck.
Once a month?
Yeah. Where do you like to go out to eat, Joshua?
No. Donald.
At McDonald's?
Oh,
And when
really?
was the last time we ate at McDonald's?
That means
Yeah, I think a year ago someone bought us ice cream when we were at the McDonald's play place.
Joey went to McDonald's with me
I
and
thought
David and me did Mommy.
I thought you liked Queen Sheba.
And
You
Mommy
like Queen
did.
Sheba?
Who's she?
It's a
The
restaurant.
restaurant, buddy. The Ethiopian restaurant where
Yeah.
they serve
Yeah.
all the food.
Do we have
and
silverware
they
at
don't
Queen
have
Sheba?
silverware.
No, we just eat with our special bread.
Oh
David
yeah,
never won. David remembers.
I love that restaurant.
Sounds actually kind of good.
Sounds
No.
good.
Now, how do you guys help with chores? So either you guys could answer or you guys could, but how are chores done
How
here?
do you help mommy and daddy run the house? What do you do to help mommy and daddy?
What do you do with your diaper in the morning?
I don't know.
Where do you put your diaper in the morning when you take it off?
The gummy.
In the garbage. And what do you do with your clothes at bedtime? Where do you put your dirty clothes?
Simple.
In the hamper. David does the dishes and sometimes put the clothes away. We are working on teaching Joshua how to put the clothes away, so David can put them away.
I'm gonna get something.
Okay. All the kids' clothes away without assistance. Joshua has to have help figuring out whose clothes go in which drawer.
Now, when you say do dishes, do you mean that he washes them, dries them, or
He
puts
puts
them
them in the
dish-
dishwasher
dishwasher.
and then washes the few hand wash and puts them on the drying rack.
Okay.
Usually David puts them away. Again, we're working on training Joshua and Elizabeth to know where they go.
Actually, Elizabeth knew pretty well.
Elizabeth can do almost all the ones on the bottom. The bottom half of the kitchen that she can reach by herself.
Okay.
You want to tell her a story? You gotta look at her.
Oh, I'll go get it. Do you want me to get it on there and stuff? It's all by myself.
Oh, you did? Cool.
Could I tell you a story?
If you want, but make it quick, because I still have more questions.
Tell her a quick story.
It was gonna be a long one.
Okay. Okay. What's that, Joshua? Who got that for you?
Me and
Yeah.
Mommy.
Yeah.
I don't want it to break it.
No, we don't want it to break.
Oh yeah.
Now-
He gave me a book about a long time ago that has people.
Joshua,
No,
not yet,
no,
buddy.
flipping.
We're doing questions right now. You can show her flips when we're done.
It things like that were happening a long time ago, but I don't know where that book is. Every time I read books, I want to look for that book.
Yes, we need to find it.
Now, would you consider this family a patriarchal family, a matriarchal, or what's that called? I forgot the term.
I don't know. I don't know
Where
the
it's
term, but
equal.
probably
But yeah.
equal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to disciplining, who is more in charge of that?
Well, she's here more
Yeah,
today, so.
I do more of it just because I'm here most of the time. When he gets home, I try and pawn it off on him just because I'm tired because I've been doing it for 7 or 8 hours while he's been at work. So it's kind of like, here, it's your turn.
Unless she has projects for me to do.
Yeah.
And then it's still you.
Then it's still me, yeah, if I need to get something else done.
Now, would you guys consider adopting any more children?
We hope to adopt one more child between the 2 boys' age and a girl. So,
And of what ethnicity?
African American.
Yeah? What about you guys? Do you guys want a new sister?
Yes.
Yeah, why?
Me?
Why do you want a new sister?
Because I want help with the dishes.
Oh, okay. What about you? Do you want a new sister? Elizabeth?
I want new people.
She wants new people.
Oh, okay. And what about you? Do you want a new
a big
sister?
He's gonna buy a guitar.
Now, how
Oh, you do
soon?
want a sister?
How soon would you guys plan on adopting a child?
It'll probably be a year from now. We have to start the process over because our homesteading. Hey, let go of her hair. Our homesteading expired and we're doing a little bit of a remodel that we have to finish before we start the process.
Now, do you ever get help from governmental programs such as WIC to help with the financial stuff? Or
we have Joshua and Elizabeth are on WIC, which is Women, Infant, Children, and it provides us about $75 a month in food vouchers for very specific food items. Joshua gets October and November, and then he will graduate because he turns 5 in December.
Oh, okay.
And then we also get Adoption Assistance Program, AAP, so we get about $500 a month per child. And we will get that till they're 18. And then all 3 children are on Ronnie's health insurance, and then they also get Medi-Cal till they're 18.
Oh, okay.
So that's our secondary basically coverage.
You'll have to wait.
Do you guys ever teach your children about the history of their ethnicity?
We
Mostly in picture books.
Yeah, we have a lot of picture
I
books.
don't want to show my Iron Man helmet.
Okay. We're not talking about Iron Man right now. We have a lot of picture books that deal with it at an age-appropriate level, which, and we have a lot of picture books that have African American children just doing regular everyday stuff, playing with their dog, playing in the snow.
Now, what type of parenting styles would you guys consider that you have? You know, submissive, passive, so
Love and logic.
Love and logic?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you guys like your parents' love?
A little.
A little? Just a little?
A lot.
A lot? Would you guys want to live with your parents forever? No, yeah. No, why not?
Because
What age would you want to go?
what would I want to do?
No, yeah.
When are you gonna move out?
Yeah.
When
That way they know when to change your room into okay.
married?
When you're married?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. So he already knows that, you know, at some point he's gonna move out.
What about you? You said you want to live with them forever. Why
I
do you
live
want
here
to
forever, you're gonna grow up and have a wife. What? You're gonna have a life.
Yeah,
He
life.
loves his life.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah? Now, do you guys have anything you guys want to tell me?
You wanna tell her anything?
No.
Anything? Do you guys ever travel with your parents somewhere out of Sacramento? So somewhere
Where do we go
far?
on vacation?
I know. This week
Where are we going on Friday?
Elizabeth's birthday party.
And where are we gonna have Elizabeth's birthday party?
Let's start with this.
At the beach.
At the beach, yeah.
Yeah?
Morro Bay, that's right.
Okay.
Who are we gonna see in Morro Bay? Who are we gonna see, Joshua?
Papa. And Papa.
And who else?
And Becky. No. Becky. Stop.
Who else, Joshua?
The army.
And we're not gonna see Ami.
Papa and Becky.
Papa and Nana and Aunt Becky, that's right.
Why can we not see him? Why can we not see Army?
Because she's not coming.
Okay, so I'm pretty done right now. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
Don't think so.
No?
Joshua wants to show you something. Show
Oh,
it.
can you show her your headstand?
Show it to you. You're gonna have to back way out.
I want to come on.
Okay, she's gonna turn off the camera and she'll come and watch your baton.
Okay, well then before that, let me get a group picture of all you guys smiling. And then again, you guys making funny faces.
Okay.
Whoa, good cardio.
What's
Wait, can't do it at the same
Wait,
time.
just don't hit the camera. Oh, wait. That's longer than I can hold it.
Okay, stand up so David can have a turn.
Good job, you guys.
I can do from a headstand to a handstand.
Okay, let me see that. Ooh, that you even look taller.
See?
Yeah. Okay, let me get all.
Elizabeth.
Is that cool?
That is very cool. Come here, Elizabeth. We're gonna smile for the camera real quick. Smile. Come over close, David, and smile. Sit up, baby.
Oh, okay, wait, let me zoom out. Can I get you guys a little bit higher?
Scoot up a little. Stand up,
And
David.
let me zoom out a little. Yeah. Yeah, you can stand up,
Stand up all the way,
Elizabeth.
baby. You're tall. You're short.
Okay, now smile real big. Okay, now laugh. And make a funny face. I can't see you, you're too low.
Oops.
That's a very funny face.
Yeah? Can you wave at the camera now? Up.
Joshua, can you swing on the rings and show her?
I love to put my feet in.
Yeah.
Good job. You look like a ninja, David.
Their cousin is in Baton, so we've been to Baton before. Swing, Joshua! But we looked everywhere in Sacramento and then in Rancho.
Somebody push me.
Look out, Joshua! Live out here and pay the mortgage off.
Okay, so has adopting children caused any marital problems?
So not the adoption part. Having children, it hasn't caused problems, but it's definitely the worst thing I've ever done for my marriage. part of it was the sleep deprivation. So, you know, we're always tired, and that made us tend to be more snappy at each other. And then the other thing is just the amount of time. Especially when they were little, and it seemed like, you know, they were always, you know, somebody needed something. They needed to be fed, or they needed their diaper changed, or they needed this. And you'd go to bed at night, and you'd roll over and say, oh, this is the man that I sleep with. And I literally just mean we sleep in the same bed together. And, you know, even now when I, you know, try and talk to him, it's like, hey, honey, guess what? Mommy, mommy, mommy. Okay, I'm trying to talk to him. So anyway, mommy, 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 mommy. And so we try, you know, when we can to get out and have date night. We had a date yesterday. So it was like, after about 5 minutes in the car of talking, we both started laughing because nobody had interrupted us for 5 minutes, which was the longest that had happened since our last date night. So
Would you ever undo the decision of adopting?
never.
That kind of stuff picks up so clearly.
Okay, you're.
I'm having a problem. I understand.
Yes.
Charlotte, if you do very good through this interview,
Thanks, Anna.
aww.
That was very nice of you, Anna. Thank you for sharing.
Now you give Anna this.
Here, Anna.
Oh, good sharing.
Charlotte, if you do very good through this interview, I will give you another red candy. Okay?
I want it. Oh, good.
Okay, we have to wait.
You gotta do well on
I'm
this
being
interview.
so good.
You are. Okay, but the interview is just starting, okay? Are we recording currently?
I just did.
So we can't tell if
So
we're
you got
recording.
the positive reinforcement going, so I can add that
Wait, is this thumbs up happening?
back in there. Yeah. But if there's something that I record and you don't want it in there, just tell me and I'll make sure I don't add it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so first of all, tell me your names.
My name is Catherine.
And my name is Philip.
And what are your children's names?
These are our daughters, Charlotte and Anna.
Charlotte also goes by Sissy.
Charlotte also goes by Sissy, okay.
Because she's Anna's big sister.
And how long have you guys been married?
We have been married for 8 years.
Congrats. Okay.